Boy, oh boy, look at these cards. There is definitely something fated unfolding today for the Twin Flame Collective. And what I want to say is your soul asked for this shift before you even knew it. We've got the wheel, we've got the star, and we've got the tower today. And so these energies are asking you to let the old fall away. Let that hope rise because you are being aligned to your true path, ready or not. Stay open because the universe is moving pieces around that you can't quite see yet. Are you ready for today's message? Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let's get into it. Hey, good morning, good afternoon, whatever it is for you. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome back. It is Laura. And let's talk about these moon transits taking place today for the Twin Flame Collective. We do have the moon transiting through Libra today, and it is forming several aspects. At 5:45 a.m. this morning in my local area, it was in an opposition to Neptune in Aries. And so we do have another opposition playing out exact later on today, this afternoon, between the moon and Venus in Aries. It's going to be in a trine to Pluto, which you can already see up here on the screen here. And later this evening, it will be in a sextile to Mars in Leo. And so these energies really are stirring up a lot of tension, I want to say, connected to relationship awareness, right? We think of the Libra Aries opposition, and it is all about me versus we. And so there could be a lot of projections in the energies because we are in this preparation portal for the full moon in Scorpio at 22 degrees on the 12th, connected to this very intense transformational energy. And so this is all about bold action today, and it is very relevant to the twin flame dynamic. So as you can see here up on the screen, we do have the moon currently in an opposition to the Neptune energy. And I do feel this is where we're dealing with that projection versus reality. With the moon Neptune opposition, I do feel this is creating a little bit of an emotional fog. And this really can create an energy of idealizing or misinterpreting the other, right? Especially when it comes to these twin flame dynamics and connections. And so this can bring confusion, this can bring longing, and this can be the resurfacing of the old illusions or the old betrayal. And so right now we're in a massive clearing portal, transformative portal. So we're going to go a little bit further, and I'm going to pull up the transit of the moon in a trine to Pluto in Aquarius. So let me get that pulled up on the screen. And we will have a look at that one there. That's taking place at 10:48 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so there we have it. We've got the moon here in a trine to Pluto. We can still see it in that oppositional energy with Saturn, Venus, and Neptune. We've got that quincunx or that inconjunct aspect to Priapus in Taurus at 4 degrees 44. And so there is this energy coming through of divine protection. And Pluto is all about transformation. And whenever I see a trine, I always feel like a portal doorway is kind of opening. And we do see Pluto still sitting at that 3 degree 48, which is the energy of the Empress and the Eight of Cups. And so divine feminine, I feel, is really in this energy of walking away. We did have Pluto go retrograde on May the 4th. And so we're in this deep introspective energy of closing out these cycles and walking away from whatever is no longer serving us on the journey. And so I do feel with this trine to Pluto, it is going to bring an opportunity for deep emotional insights. I do feel deep emotional insights, and this is going to help alchemize the fears and all of these outdated relationship patterns. Okay. And so that Priapus energy, that is the shadow masculine energy coming through. It is always going to be in a direct opposition to Lilith. It's always going to be in a direct opposition to the shadow feminine energy. And so right now there's a lot of deep shadow work integration going on. We can also see the moon is in that opposition to Venus. It's not going to be in that exact opposition until the moon gets a couple more degrees ahead. But we got to keep in mind too, with moon transits, they are temporary. They only last for about a few hours. But because we've got several of these transits playing out today, this is going to be a pretty heavy energy. And so but the moon in opposition to Venus, this I feel is bringing forward an energy of love versus independence, right? And there's going to be tension. There's going to be tension. There's going to be a need to alchemize, and we're going to have to dance. I want to say dance within these connections between self and we. And so I do feel either one or both of the twins are going to feel torn in the energies today between wanting that union and wanting that personal freedom. And so I do feel these energies are going to be very hard to work with. I feel the divine feminine is going to be feeling emotionally disoriented or challenged, especially with that Neptune opposition, and maybe just unsure as to whether if this connection was real or not, and maybe second guessing what they are intuitively sensing, or even second guessing if they even want this anymore. And so there's going to need to be a confrontation of these feelings, especially connected to abandonment or not being chosen, especially with Venus and Aries. And I do feel this is stirring up that wound. I know it is for me of I have to do it all alone. And so there was an explosion of releasing for me late last night about feeling like I always have to do it alone. But the opportunity is being presented for the divine feminine, I feel, to come back into that inner harmony, especially with the moon in Libra, and to reclaim that sense of balance, to reclaim her power. And that Pluto trine is really offering a deep sense of healing, I feel, for the divine feminine in order to purge the old patterns of codependency or any people-pleasing tendencies. And I do feel a major integration tip for the feminine over the coming days is really, it's all about practicing that discernment. It's not about overreacting, right? Not all emotions are truth, but we do have to anchor into our heart, into our truth, not into that fantasy, right? We have to be anchored into what is our reality being presented right in front of us, right? And we need to look at that balanced energy. Is there balance between giving and receiving? Because Libra is asking for that reciprocity. So where are you overgiving? Where are you giving too much? And where do you need to take a step back and allow yourself to receive? And so I do feel we need to reframe that aloneness energy, because with Venus and Aries, I do feel solitude can very much be self-empowering, but we don't want to be so far into self that we are isolating ourselves from any type of connection externally. And so I do feel for the divine masculine, there's going to be a lot of emotional overwhelm. I do feel that. I feel there's going to be a lot of withdrawal. There's going to be a lot of uncertainty, especially connected to their feelings, is what I'm feeling, and the next steps that they need to take on their own personal journey. And so they might be experiencing some tension between their desires and vulnerability. But I do feel they're really unsure on how to act on their feelings, because when they go into their feelings, it kind of feels like they are losing control, especially with the Mars Venus in Aries dynamics, the Mars and Leo Venus in Aries dynamics. And so I do think the Pluto trine is supporting the breakthrough energy, and there's going to be sudden realizations over the coming days, or even like just an intense dream that is going to push them towards a deeper sense of self-awareness. And I feel the Mars and Leo energy, the Mars sextile Leo energy. Let me pull that one up on the screen, because that is taking place later this evening. And so that's going to be at 10:06 p.m. here. Let me get that pulled up on the screen for you guys here, okay? Okay, there we got it. We got the moon in that sextile to Mars at 9 degrees, 23. And so we can see here that we're going to have the moon in that 10th house in Virgo, which then puts the 4th house in Pisces. And so the moon is still going to be in that oppositional state to Venus, as we can see, still in that trine to Pluto. And it's going to be sextile to the ascendant. So that's pretty interesting energies we see up there on the screen. But I do feel that for the divine feminine, the Mars sextile is going to give that strength to make that very empowered decision that maybe has been avoided up until now, whether it means holding space. And I do feel a lot of the divine feminines are walking away from that holding space, because we can't invite in any new energy or any new high vibe soulmate connection while we're holding space. And so I do feel, whether it's holding space or walking away or expressing those boundaries, that's really what this energy is bringing forward, I want to say, for the divine feminine. And as you can see, Mars is going to be in that eighth house. So that's pretty significant, because the eighth house does represent transformation. It is the house of death and transformation. It's also the house of shared resources. But I feel with the Mars and Leo energy for the divine masculine, it's really encouraging that authentic action. That's really what this transit is encouraging, where the divine masculine collective is being supported into stepping into their truth, but only if they move past those ego defenses and those fear-based energies. And so I think the divine masculine is being asked to slow down before acting impishly or impulsively, because their emotions are going to feel very intense. I feel they're going to be reactive, and they're encouraged not to react and instead respond. And so there's a need to face an illusion as well, I feel, connected to the divine masculine collective, where Neptune is kind of highlighting their escapism tendencies with what is real versus what is fantasy. And they are really being called to take that ownership, right? Because that Venus and Aries energy is asking the divine masculine to take that personal initiative, and to take it not from control, but from a place of truth. And so I think the questions we need to ask ourselves over the coming days before the moon moves into Scorpio, because the moon will move into Scorpio on the 10th, and we'll have the full moon on the 12th at 22 degrees, which is very significant. It is a master degree. And I do feel we kind of need to ask ourselves over the coming days, what illusions about love or union are being dissolved right now, right? What illusions need to be dissolved? And we do need to stay grounded in reality. And so you are encouraged to engage in practices that can anchor you into your body and into the present moment. And we're kind of in this mirror check, right? So the mirror check energy, are you projecting your unmet needs onto other people or onto your twin? And the Neptune opposition, I feel, is the perfect time to really have both of the counterparts reclaim their power and to call back that energy to themselves. And so honor the duality of the Libra moon, right? It does represent the scales of balance. It is reminding us to seek that balance, right? It is the energy of the weighing of the heart. Is your heart as light as a feather? If not, then seek that balance, because I do feel the full moon in Scorpio is asking us to purge the heaviness on the heart and to release these control tendencies. And so we can't hold on to a union that hasn't manifested in the physical form yet. We do have to hold on to our individuality as well, I think, is a big message that is coming through for the twins. So we're going to go deeper into some higher guidance with some oracle cards and some tarot cards. So stick around. If you are curious about understanding your own personal birth chart, along with these astrological transits that I talk about, I do have a free guide. So if you are interested in that free guide, just comment free guide down below. It's just like 15 basics of understanding your birth chart. It's just some basic tools. If you want to go further with a personal reading with me, I do have a link below that can guide you to my webpage. But let's jump in with the cards and let's see what other messages need to come through for the twins today. All right, let's break down this tarot spread and let's start with the divine masculine energies. And so the card that came out for the masculine, the oracle card that came out for the masculine, is the addictions card. I do believe several readings back, this was a card that did come out for the divine feminine. And so it is a 7 card. And so there is angelic guidance here. It is this energy, I want to say, of moving on. But I do feel the masculine over the coming days is going to be in a lot of reactive behavior tendencies. I do think there's this tendency around the masculine to seek that control or distraction instead of actually confronting their emotions, right? A lot of the masculines mask either through addictions of gambling, alcohol, overeating, drinking, and they use this as a mask to avoid confronting their actual emotions. But I do feel with the Mars and Leo energy, sextile the moon, this is where the masculine is being asked to reclaim back his power. And he does this by acting from the heart, right? Not from a place of fear. And divine feminine, you did get that longing for love card. And so this really is that reflection, I want to say, of the loneliness or the feeling like you have to go it all alone. And maybe you have been going it all alone. And so I do think you're at a point where you are ready to walk away from the journey. You are ready for a true partner. You are seeking a high vibe soulmate, even if that means walking away from the twin flame journey or the divine counterpart, because this really is that echo of that emotional fatigue of doing everything solo. It's like you want true partnership. And with the moon in opposition to Venus, I do feel that is reflected in this oracle card today, of just how lonely you feel because of the emotional reciprocity that is out of balance on this journey. And so I don't think you are here to push harder. You are here to learn to receive more. That's the lesson. It's not about pushing harder. It's about receiving. I feel that's a really big message coming through for the divine feminine. And the combined energy, we did get Archangel Haniel, and it does speak of joy, gratitude, and intuition. And so trust your joy, trust your intuition. It looks like she's holding a harvest of some sort. And so even through the chaos, there's always going to be that angelic guidance, right? So how can you just return to grace, return to gratitude, because it is all about coming back into the heart. The connection really is about the heart awakening. And so on the bottom of the deck, we got Archangel Phanuel, and this is just saying that there is hope, right? There is hope. Maybe your ships haven't arrived yet, but this breakdown that we are going through is truly, truly sacred. And so we can't choose to fill a void. If something is missing, we can't go and fill that void with things or people. We do have to do that deep inner soul dive. So let's talk about the masculine row. He's the top row here, and I pulled 4 cards today. And we get this 4 of Cups in reverse. Let's take a look at it upright, though, because we see the watering can, we see a wall, we see a great big wall there, and we see 3 dead plants. So I don't know if the masculine has been watering 3 dead relationships or watering 3 dead trees, but there's a wall there, right? There's a big wall here, and I do feel mentally the divine masculine is waking up from some type of fog of dissatisfaction, right? There is growing awareness because it is in reverse. He's not sitting there stuck in that inertia or in that soul suppression and that depression. It's like coming out of that depression, coming out of that state, I want to say, of being emotionally numb or emotionally unavailable. That's just no longer sustainable. That's what these energies are saying today. These are just no longer sustainable cycles for the masculine. And this does align with the moon Neptune opposition, I want to say, where those illusions are breaking. Champion of Swords. This is actually the Knight of Swords. We see an eagle flying through the sky with a sword, and he's flying above 3 butterflies, right? That's the imagery on the card. And so emotionally, he's in flight. And so we can fight, we can flight, we can fawn, but I do feel he's in flight mode, right?
And I also feel there is an evolution here, I want to say, of a thought process, right? Swords are mental energy, but there's also avoidance here. I feel there's also avoidance here. Like he's trying to solve all of these emotional issues logically. He's trying to fly above the transformation, is how I'm reading this today, rather than fully embodying the transformation. And so the Two of Wands was the next card out, and it came out in reversed. I think physically he's feeling a little bit unstable. You see the thread, you see the two wands, and almost like an image, I want to say, of like a globe, not quite, but I kind of feel he's feeling unstable physically. And perhaps fate, I want to say fate is kind of reshuffling everything around. He might feel paralyzed or lacking direction, like analysis paralysis. And the moon Pluto trine, I want to say, is shaking that foundation in order to force that deeper sense of empowerment today for the divine masculine. And the last card out for him is the wheel. We see something here being unraveled on the card, right? It's this wheel, it reminds me of like the ship energy right here. We see the sailboat, right, on this card. And so there is a reorientation of the path. We see a need to take a risk. We see this thread or the yarn, the ball of yarn unraveling. And this is karmic destiny coming through. This is the divine masculine I want to feel on the brink of a breakthrough. And his lack of control really isn't failure. It is this need to surrender to divine timing. This to me is saying a divine timing card today. So divine feminine, the first card out for you, I was loving it. It's the star. It is Aquarian energy. And so despite the challenges that you are facing, your wish is about to be granted, whatever that is. And I think your mind right now is focused on soul alignment and hope for the future, despite how dark things might seem, right? How challenging things might seem. And so this really is you being called into a deeper layer of divine healing. So this is the perfect harmony energy connected to Archangel Phanuel, right? And so I just feel there is a soul level renewal going on here for the divine feminine. That's really what this is saying, right? And so the next card out, we get the Five of Vessels or the Five of Cups in reverse. And this to me is saying you are detaching. You are emotionally detaching from wanting all of those eggs in one basket. You're not placing all of your love, all of your hope into one single outcome. You are growing. You are realizing, like, hey, maybe there is an alternative here, or maybe I'm waiting on a dead end here and I'm open to receiving something new. And so this is you, I feel, releasing that holding space, because you can't make space for a new high vibration soulmate to come onto your path while you are holding space for the counterpart, right? And so I feel this is you growing in discernment, rising from illusion with the moon Neptune energies and finding joy again. Joy again in the possibilities, like, hey, not all is lost. And I'm open to receiving new love here, okay? The Judgment in reverse came out next for you, Divine Feminine. And this is really what's manifesting. And so there's a delay. I want to say there's a delay in you fully trusting in your calling. So I don't know if you're unsure if you're actually truly seen or truly heard. I know that's something that I've had to I've had to deal with and integrate in this shadow work recently. This could also be related to that longing and that isolation. It is really echoing the moon and Libra's focus on connection, right? Or lack thereof. And then the Ace of Wands in reversed came out last for you, Divine Feminine. And so what are your next steps? That's really what this is asking you. What are your next steps? And because it's in reverse, I think you're being called to pause. Don't rush. Your energy is being rebirthed, but it feels like it's happening very slowly. And so your creative, passionate inspiration, it's going to return when you stop forcing yourself to keep rising alone. You don't have to do it all alone, okay, Divine Feminine? And that was really feeling super heavy for me. So let's talk about the combined twin flame energies. The King of Cups in reversed. I think both of the counterparts are feeling a little bit emotionally overwhelmed at this point in time, or maybe even feeling emotionally unavailable in different ways. There is a need for emotional regulation, is what this is saying, not emotional repression. And the shared energy, the shared illusion of stability is crumbling the tower. And so I think both of the twins are going through a tower right now. I'm feeling it. I'm sure you're feeling it too. And this is necessary, right? Especially under the moon in Libra with its opposition to Neptune and its trine to Pluto. These influences are saying the old dynamic of relationships and relationship patterns can no longer stand. They do have to break down in order to call in that new vibrational frequency. Then we got the strength reversed. And I'm going to pull them up together, and the temperance reversed. And so there's a lesson here in softness, not control. There's a lesson here in vulnerability and not pride, where both are kind of being cracked open to rediscover what true, authentic power is. And patience really is the medicine, I feel, that neither of the twins want to take, but you both need to be a little bit patient, right? And we do have Mercury going into Taurus. It's going to ingress into Taurus on Saturday. And so I do feel patience, right? Taurus is all about patience. And so I want to say there is an energetic integration happening right now. And patience really is what is going to be key, right? And so energetic integration is happening, but it needs to be clean. It can't be messy. And so I want to talk about the bottom of the deck very quickly, because we do get the devil card in reverse, and we see the snake energy, and we are in the year of the snake. And this is about severing those ties to addictions, to toxic patterns, to codependencies, to reactive behaviors, right? To the toxic, trauma-bonded relationship cycles. And then the justice card is the Libra energy. And so this is a call for balance. This is a call for truth. And so right now I feel the twins are being called to be those pillars. And then we got the Queen of Cups in reverse. It's almost like the feminine has shut down her heart and is no longer receptive, right? Because the feminine does hold the key. And then we got the future card in reverse. And so this is like a bonus card. We get 2 bonus cards in this deck. One is future and one is past. But with the future card in reverse, I think there's a deep look into family roots here. We see the trees, we see the roots, we see the river. Allow your emotions to flow, because I do feel there's a lot of nostalgia. There's a lot of reminiscing. We do have Saturn going into that 29th degree. And so that's some pretty heavy karmic energy coming through over the coming days. So that's where we're going to want to stay grounded and rooted in reality. Let's talk about the final message here, because I did get a final closing message from the Soul's Journey lesson cards, and it is friendship, right? The card to say, I understand that a friend is in my life for a reason. So lean on your friends, the ones that are on the journey with you, that understand you. But I feel the final message with this card today is saying, whether romantic union is possible now or not, the foundation of all relationships and the foundation of unconditional love is friendship, right? It has to be built or rebuilt as friends first, right? So let that energy soften before it deepens is a big message here. So that's kind of what I got for the energies over the coming days for the twins. Some final integration tips I want to say is release control over the timing, right? Release control over the timing. I think that's the Temperance card coming in with the Tower. It's like divine intervention is kind of at work here over the coming days, and take that time to recenter in your heart space within this connection, and don't hold on to an outcome, right? Or a desire that is based in illusion. Let that emotional tower fall. What survives will be true, right? So anything that leaves your life over the coming days is meant to leave your life. It's not meant to go with you into the next cycle. And hold that space for your own personal human experience, not for that person in particular. Let go of the loneliness, let go of the grief, release the confusion. All of this is part of the healing. Allow your heart to break open. When we allow our heart to break open, then we can love more honestly, we can live more fully, and we can trust that the divine path is unfolding. So if you would like to go further with me, with some one-on-one twin flame coaching or astrology mentorship coaching, or even a twin flame reading, do feel free to check out that description box below. I do also have a 22-page twin flame ebook guide. If you would like to learn how to master the journey like a pro, comment twin flame guide down below and I will send you the link for the download. Have a wonderful day, everybody, and I will see you all next time.